I'm going to begin by inviting the three most important gentlemen in the room to come out front and join us. And here they come, Dr. Mark Camille, Kyle Wallack, and our athletic director, Jim Abramidis. So while our gentlemen find their seats, I will tell you, it was just 83 days ago on April 4th, that Albertus Magnus College announced plans to launch an NCAA Division III hockey team. So we've all learned, as Dr. Camille has joined us in this first year, things happen really fast. He has a vision, things happen very fast, and you can only imagine how busy Jim Abramidis has been over these last 83 days. But you're not here to listen to me talk about all of that. I am going to hand this over to to Dr. Camille, who can maybe give us a little background on how we got here. Then Jim can maybe introduce who we have here. And then finally, we're going to hear from Kyle himself, and we will open it up to Q&A. Now, I do have to acknowledge a couple of different things. We are excited to welcome Kyle to our Albertus family, but there are a number of his actual family members here today. So if you all will give a little wave so we all can see who you are. Don't be shy now. So we welcome you to the family as well. Welcome to Albertus. And I learned that there's a crew around the room of former Quinnipiac and Yale folks and people that have, I think it's particularly Quinnipiac, who have worked with Kyle in the past, and you've all gone on to great things. You can just raise your hands too. No shyness. What are you hiding on me now? Oh, they're sitting here. I'm looking at Karen. Karen's looking at me. I'm like, where'd they go? They were right there. And our own Mitch is also a Quinnipiac athletic alum, if you will. So with no further ado, I turn this over to you, Dr. Camille.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Andrea, and good afternoon, everyone. It was just a couple of short months ago that we gathered in this very same space to announce the exciting partnership with the city of New Haven. And, as I sit here today and I think about what has unfolded during that time, I continue to be very excited about what that partnership represents for Albertus Magnus College. It continues to be an opportunity for deeper engagement with the city of New Haven, our home city. Certainly, it brings us today to talk about the launch of our varsity men's ice hockey program, but it also will present an opportunity for this college, for Coach Wallack and his staff, to provide leadership in developing a Learn to Skate youth program for the children of the city of New Haven. And that partnership is so inherent in who we are and what we stand for at Albertus Magnus College. I see that we have members of our Board of Trustees who have gathered with us today. Our chair, Gene Dennison, our chair of our Finance Committee, Raymond Peach. And I think that is symbolic of the support that I have received since I started as president just about a year ago to the day, but over the course of this first year. And the Board of Trustees, our alumni base, they champion the mission of this college, and they have stood proudly over the years on behalf of the college, but they understand the moment in time that we are presented with at Albertus Magnus College as we get ready to move forward. If you've learned nothing else about me over the course of my first year as president, what you perhaps will learn is that as we move forward, as we make strategic investments on behalf of this college, on behalf of its Catholic, its Dominican mission, the students we serve, we will do that with a commitment to excellence. We will do it with a commitment to be the best we can be. And so after we announced on April 4th the partnership, and as Jim and I know members of our search committee, and he'll talk about that, but as they undertook the important work of identifying and recruiting the Inaugural, the first head coach for our men's varsity ice hockey program, it became busy to say the least. As I look through the resumes, we were blessed with an incredible pool. We had talented finalists that came to this campus that we met with. But the individual that sits between Jim and myself immediately separated himself. And I'll give you an example why. I know that Jim will introduce him more formally and you'll have a chance to hear from Kyle. But in the documents that he shared with us, he talked about his own core values as a coach. And at the top of those values, two things: attitude and gratitude in the classroom. And when I think about the type of individual that we want to launch the men's varsity ice hockey program at Albertus Magnus College, where mission is more than speak, where it is palpable on a daily basis, to hire someone who understands the importance of gratitude in our lives and the importance of the student-athlete model, I know that we have made not only the right choice, but that we are fortunate this individual has decided to join the Albertus Magnus College family. So Kyle, welcome to you. Lauren, Caitlin, we are excited to have you as the newest members of the Albertus Magnus College family. Thank you.
Thank you, President Camille, and welcome to everyone, both current family and new family, to the Albertus crew here. The word is out, and it's a pretty good message. I can tell you that I spent a lot of time going through a lot of resumes, and the ones that were qualified were 120 of them. That doesn't count, obviously, the ones that maybe didn't have a qualification here or there, but it was quite a process, and there's a few people I want to thank who helped me through that whole process. First, our existing staff, Mitch Oliver, Brian Layton. I don't know if Nick is here, but those were our initial search screeners. So you made it through those guys, okay? And they're a tough crew because they're coaches. And then we had the actual technical search committee. Sean Michael Green, VP for Enrollment Management. Eric Shook, is Debbie here? Deb here? Where's Deb? Deb Frattini. Kristen DeCarli from the academic side. And who am I missing? Where's Andrew? I don't know if Andrew could make it. Andrew Foster, our VP for Student Services also. And those are the guys who did some of the heavy lifting towards the end, and we're so very impressed with Kyle. As you know, we're doing a lot of new things here at Albertus, and I want to just mention a couple people who are taking on new roles here as well. First, Coach Lauren Pallone, who we stole from Central Connecticut State University, is our new women's swimming and diving coach. And she may be in the pool right now, but if she's not, nope, she's in the back. Lauren. And an existing coach who's taken on additional responsibilities, Joe Caruso, who is now our women's lacrosse and women's field hockey coach. Joe, you here somewhere? Joe's a little height challenged, so he's in the back, trust me.
Says the basketball guy.
That's right. And certainly the rest of the staff who put up with a lot of me being kind of consumed by hockey. I'm not a real hockey guy, if anybody maybe didn't figure that out. But I've learned a lot, and I want to thank somebody who was gracious enough to be kind of my mentor in this process, Dave Beaker, a former Yale guy who was very helpful to me. Thank you, Dave. But that's not what you're here to hear. You're here to hear from somebody special to us. And let me tell you a little bit about Kyle, who if you haven't figured out, Kyle's a pretty special guy, not only because he's from Connecticut and West Hartford in particular, but he played goalie and was captain of Springfield College Pride. Is that the technical mascot? What do you have for mascot with the Pride? I don't even know.
Used to be a chief, but they got a little political there. So.
But as you may all well know, he was spent a lot of time, 18 years in particular, at Division I colleges. Obviously, spent a lot of time at Quinnipiac with Mitch. They shared an office, I understand, and Mitch is still here to tell us about it. He was obviously at Holy Cross. Of course, I have to mention he was at UConn. John, you'll appreciate that. John, former mayor, nice to see you. Thanks for coming. And of course, at Yale. And finally, for the last 6 years, he's been the associate head coach at a very successful University of Vermont Catamount program. And I don't know how we got him, but we got him, and we feel pretty darn lucky to have him on board with us. As you know, he's joined, as President just introduced, family. It's great to have you all here, but it's also, we're putting his phone line in.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. But it's also great to see so many of Kyle's friends and family, and you guys will be happy to know we expect you all to be our first season ticket holders. And all you hockey guys from the local schools, you know, those Division I programs in the neighborhood, thank you guys for coming and support Kyle. I know he appreciates it. Next, let me just really take a moment to thank Kyle. I know it's kind of a whirlwind to get you here, and then you're on the road all over the place, and your family are angels for putting up for all the travel. Well, at least you have them back home, and you'll be home too. So welcome back to the New Haven area. So without further ado, let me introduce who will be the person. There is no better person positioned to lead us into the future, and that comes from talking to a lot of people. I know we got the right guy, and I know he's going to be happy with us, and I hope he has a sense of humor, because that's the only way you survive here. Please let me introduce, and if you all could give him a nice Albertus warm welcome, Kyle Wallack, our new head coach.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, President Camille. I am truly honored and humbled to be here today. It's even more special when it's the first, and when you're starting up a program. And one of the major reasons for me coming is I can put my fingerprints on this and start from scratch. And it was a pretty important part of the process. As you can see by these guys, you're only as good as your administration, and their vision and of what the school's values are is what really sold me on this place of coming down. And I want to thank these two for being quick hosts. I know it was a quick process for me, a little longer for them, but I appreciate their gratitude and their emphasis on their commitment to making this place special and putting it on the map. And looking forward to putting my fingerprints on it, along with the partnership with the City of New Haven. I think it's a huge deal of what we can do and strive for, and I'm really excited to get things rolling. I got a lot of people to thank. I'll be short and sweet. I'll probably cut off half this page, but it's great. Hopefully this is our opening night. At least we can maybe double this crowd, but this is awesome, and I'm excited to be here. A few, beside President Camille and Jim, the search committee, Sean Michael, and the rest of the gang, they were great in the process. Just getting to meet them, and everybody I talked to here, in their vision of it, it was. Yes was the answer to everything, and I thought that was pretty special to me. Of every question I asked, it was glass half full. We're excited about this. We want to put this on the map, and it was a pretty special thing for me to hear that. And I told my wife I never heard no on anything, so maybe we'll see. But it was exciting.
You see your office.
Yeah, exactly. I hear there's some mansions around here, but it's funny how these processes start, and I saw on Twitter, following the New Haven Register, Albertus Magnus is starting hockey, and you looked at some pictures, and and my wife Lauren, who's here, kind of, hey, what's going on? You start looking into it, and you send a line down, and we were in Chicago a few weeks back, and phone rang, a New Haven number, and I kind of let it go to voicemail, and then I answered, checked the message. Mitch Oliver, who is obviously the men's basketball coach here, but 1999 I started at Quinnipiac, which was college then, and Mitch was the assistant basketball coach where I was, and Mitch reached out and talked about his passion for this place, and you interested in this? Can we get you, do a phone interview tomorrow? And his passion and excitement really sold me on this opportunity, and I want to thank him for making that call. And it's, I guess this business is built on relationships, and somehow 18 years later, it kind of comes back around to put you in the right position at the right time, which I can't thank him enough for that. So, a couple coaches I know that couldn't make it here today. I know Keith Lane's right here from Yale, and Graham Pecknold, C.J. Maritolo, 3 local Connecticut guys that I've spent a ton of time with. They've been truly influential in my career and my development. Kevin Sneddon and the whole University of Vermont staff. Obviously a little further drive than the local guys, but I want to thank them for the last 6 years up at UVM. Paul Pearl, who I worked with at Holy Cross. Paul just accepted the associate job at Boston University recently, but spent 2 years with Paul up at Holy Cross, which was a great experience. I know Billy Regas here. I don't know if Joe Dume made it from Quinnipiac, but guys I spent a lot of time with on the road, and cohorts of it, and Benny Sire up at Cornell University, who I shared probably maybe a smaller office that I'm going to get here at Quinnipiac, and spent a lot of time together. 3 others who have passed since that had a huge influence on my career: Gary Deneen, Bruce Marshall, and Jason Pagney. All through the Connecticut area that truly shaped my career in a lot of different ways and relationships, and guys I think of and as I'm standing here today. Most importantly, my family. I'm guessing we spoke earlier that my mother's probably trying to figure out the stream right now from Florida. If you are, love you, Mom. My mother and father. Words truly can't put into to this what they mean to me, and how many doors they've opened for me to be here today. And thank you if you can see it. I know they're. You can watch it on YouTube later, I'm guessing. But I love you guys. My in-laws are here, Larry and Charlene DeFrancesco, aunts, uncles, cousins, young babies, So, thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate that. And, in the the front here, my 2 special ones, Lauren and Caitlin, you guys are... Lauren, you're obviously the gas that runs the engine. You make it all work. And my traveling companion right here, I love you guys. You spent a lot of time on the road, and truly excited to be here today. This is home for me. It's a great college town. We spent a lot of time here in the past. I think one of the big things when you see the president of the school and the mayor of New Haven wearing jerseys, it's pretty awesome. It makes you look twice. And coming down here, to me there was a lot of resemblance to Quinnipiac, 18 years ago, and something that's there's a footprint right down the road of where you can build to and make something truly special. So, I thought that being a Connecticut guy, being from West Hartford, having worked at Quinnipiac and Yale and UConn, this meant a lot, and it's special being able to have the chance to come back home here. So I'm honored and want to thank everybody for coming out today, and look forward to any of these questions you guys might have.
So on that note, I think we will take some questions. I've got the roving mic, so if you're not a member of the media traveling with your own microphone, I can help you out. If you are a member of the media, you don't need to wait for me. Yes?
Yeah.
Coach, you were on the staff and you helped recruit a lot of the talent that won the Yale. You helped recruit a lot of the talent that was on the Yale squad that won the national championship in 2013. What's your pitch going to be to some of your recruits to come to Albertus Magnus?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things right now is opportunity. We got 30 spots available, and some guys are going to get some ice time. So and I think that's what you want as a freshman. You get a chance to be in the lineup right away, and it's something exciting that they can be part of the first program, first class at the college here, and something special to be able to put the uniform on it here.
Who am I missing? Okay. I can't see very well.
Me neither. Kyle Rich Capola from Fox 61. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Obviously, you've, I don't know if this is working too well. You mentioned 3 guys in the state who, we all know and have great respect for. And most coaches, when they become a head coach, really take a lot from different people that they've been with. Obviously, you've had some great mentors. what will you take maybe a little bit from each, or what will help to form you along with your own ideas and your own style?
You know what? They're all three are different people, and I think that's been great. And CJ and I shared an office right next to Keith, and you pick their brains every day about hockey life in general. And I think I was a young coach. I think I was 24 years old when I started at Quinnipiac, and I probably thought I knew more than I actually did. And you experience a lot of different things when 20 years later. But Rand taught me how to create a network and how to recruit and what will sell kids on whether it be the biggest place or the smallest place, because we didn't have a lot at the time. And I think there's just a lot of handcuffs at a lot of different places, but you sell what you have. And he really built it on getting out in the rinks and pumping the colors out and showing off the jacket. And CJ's a character, and he's he's kind of the personality rock where you can have that conversation with. He's a passionate guy, and I think kind of taking that mix of his passion and pride for what he does and every day, and Keith's just a legend, So it's but 5 years with Keith, and we probably didn't realize how good we were at the time going through it, and we had some special people there and some special players that. It was fun watching 3 Olympians overseas this year that we'd coached, and you see kind of their same body language on the ice, and the everyday stuff is what you take. I think that you keep learning from guys like this, and you keep having every conversation you have with those guys. You're always learning, I think, as a coach.
Any other questions? Our photographer would like to ask a question. Yes.
How will you interface with the city of New Haven? How are you thinking about that?
I think they got a reservation tonight at Adriana's. I'm not sure, but I'm a Pepe's guy though, so it's I think it's getting out in the community, and I talked to the committee about having kind of a 3-phase kind of time frame for all of this. Is day one is getting the name out there and kind of pumping up the vision and trying to brand the name and getting it out there in the recruiting aspect, but being out in the city once we establish a recruiting class and getting them out in the city, whether it be into the youth programs in the schools and in different settings where we can get the Albertus name out there and make it a win-win with the city and the college.
That's great. Thank you. Anyone else?
Going strong.
You waited for me to walk all the way back over there.
Reporter's going strong. Yeah.
Kyle, when Brian Burke was general manager of the Whalers, we used to talk often, and one of the things Brian believed in, at least at that time and in the NHL, was you build from the goal on out. And with changes in the game, with college hockey as opposed to pros, I don't think the importance of goaltending doesn't waver, but are you one that believes that's kind of how you try and build a team from the goal on out?
Yeah, no question. I mean, 2 former goalies in the room here at least, but the nice thing is I get to recruit 3 of them, so it's if I strike out with one, I got 2 others to work with. So you have to, I spoke to these guys at lunch a little earlier. Salve and Colby College went to the Final Four this year, and they had 2 great all-league and all-American goalies, and it's the difference maker position. It's going to be what carries you to the next level. I know during the interview process, we talked about Jeff Malcolm a little bit in the national championship game, and sorry, Billy, I don't want to make any wounds for Quinnipiac there, but it's a difference maker position, and you got to start there for sure. But I want to get competitive people that want to be a part of something. I think is the most important thing in the recruiting process here.
I'm going to walk over there. Okay. Anyone else?
I think Eric has a question, because he
Eric
had a lot
has
of
a
hockey
question?
questions. Eric, we'll put Eric on the spot.
Professor Scheck.
Well, I'll just follow up with one of the things we talked about in the interview, which I think all the committee would agree was most impressive. Your hockey smarts, your dedication, your commitment to athletic and academic excellence. How do you find the hidden nuggets when you're recruiting? The big guys, maybe they're already committed to D1. You're starting a new program, but there are some real treasures out there. How do you find them? Where do you find them?
Yeah, I think A is work ethic and being on the road and getting out there and having a network and using those relationships now. And we spoke a little bit about it. It's, you know, the context you have from what you didn't have 20 years ago is one of the bigger things, and being in some different places now and using the agents and, you know, hitting the phone lines. I think that's one of the bigger parts too. But I always say there's a lot of Division I players playing Division III hockey right now. There's only 60 Division I schools. It's there's a lot of leftovers, a lot of hockey players out there. There's a lot of really good hockey players. So it's keeping those relationships going. I've already sent out a few lines to guys we're recruiting at UVM on the maybe you know, as Plan Bs, but also guys that are probably Division I players, and hopefully maybe one or two of them slip through the cracks.
All right, I'm on this side of the room for the last time. Thank you all very much for being here. Again, Kyle, we are delighted to welcome you to the Albertus family. We are delighted to welcome you to the Albertus family. Welcome back to Connecticut. This is a meet and greet, so please take advantage of that and introduce yourself to Kyle. There'll be a quiz on his first day to see whose name he remembers. Thank you all very much for joining us here this afternoon.
It's official. Welcome. Yep. Jim, nice job. Yep.